What's up, NFL fans? I'm long been known for the Bills videos. I was inspired by a friend. He's like, dude, talk about the rest of the league. You know a lot about football. At least, he flattered me and said that. And I feel like I have a pretty good knowledge base. He said, talk about, another team that might interest you and see where it goes. I'm like, okay. Not that I'm a fan of this team because I'm not. I'm not going to pretend to be. I'm, already an aforementioned Bills fan. But when I do these types of videos, I'm going to stay non-biased, straight down the middle. So the team I landed on was very, very easy. The Chicago Bears. I think they're fascinating for so many reasons. All the Bills ties. And first of all, a tie with me. Right here, Jersey City. It's the birthplace of their Super Bowl winning quarterback, Jim McMahon. Martyr K Hospital back in the late 50s. It's actually right over here. It's no longer there. Medical center. It's been moved to another part of Jersey City. Leslie Frazier, coach on the Bills. Mitch Trubisky, now the Buffalo Bills backup quarterback. Uh, I just can think of so many. Dick Geron. We both had lovely stints with him as our head coach. A cup of coffee with A Train Anthony Thomas. Oh, just there's more. I know there's more. There's definitely more. Reuben Brown capped off his Hall of Fame career. I feel with the Chicago Bears and when they had Olin Kreutz and the other Roberto Garza was the other guy. They had a really good offensive line. Chris Williams, who was pretty much a bust even with the Bills, was considered a bust draft pick with the Bears. Was signed by the Bills. He really never worked out. Just so many. And if I sit here and think of more, I'll find more, 100%. But yeah, I just think that they're fascinating for so many reasons. For a franchise that has such a storied history, iconic, the players. I mean, and you'll notice the theme, like Bears fans know, it's generally the defensive players. Outside of that, even of course Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, running back heavy, not so much receiver heavy at all. I remember Des White was a really good slot receiver for them. I mean, Chris Callaway, Bobby Ingram, guys of that ilk. Not a big outside of Ditka, not a really big tight end lineage. Greg Olson had a really bad trade. Bad trade. I think Greg Olson was amazing. Um, Carolina ties definitely. Bills tried to sign him last off season. He ended up obviously going somewhere else. But anyway, just Kyle Orton. I mean, again, if I think of the Bills and Bears ties, that they're gonna. But if you look at them, they have that Super Bowl in '85. They destroy the Patriots. Thank you. Curb stop the Patriots pillar to post. Uh, it's not even a contest. I mean, Tony Eason and Kevin Grogan just get destroyed. Excuse me. And after that, that's pretty much their centerpiece of their franchise. That's the chip. That '86 defense was even better. But then the strike year happens. I think they went one, and it just Ditka makes that statement about the replacements being the real Bears, and there's just that fracture. He lasts there 5 more years, I believe. This last year was '92, and it really never really came back. I mean, they found stability with Lovie Smith. I found another connection. Dave Wannstedt, who was a head coach for the Chicago Bears, was Bill's defensive coordinator for, I believe it was god awful. I mean, he was just terrible. Um, and just you guys having had Dick Geron as your head coach know the kind of just drudgery that leads to. But just when you look at the Bears and just and it really ties into this current regime, the cavernous hole that this team has had at quarterback forever. I mean, forever. It's not even it's not even close. It's unbelievable that a franchise with this much success, that's had this much success, this much of just a crazy resume, just and maybe you guys hear a lot of the same things that we've heard from your media, from your teams, because I don't listen to as much Bears stuff from the different regimes that you guys had. The weather, you got to play the conditions, you got to run the ball, play defense. Because, again, Great Lakes team, you guys, Bears are right on that lake. So they really have to do it just as much as anybody. But just not having that quarterback. Ryan Pace, as his two head coaches now, and Fox and Nagy, and it is fascinating. The shelf life that Ryan Pace has, he is the cockroach in chair, man. He survived the nuclear holocaust. I mean, what was it? Came in, Brian Hoyer, signed Glennon, Trubisky, hot, has the one season. Parkey misses the kick. It's, then you get Foles, and then, that all goes down, and just now Justin Fields. We'll say Justin Fields is unlike any other quarterback that the Bears have ever had in terms of the mobility, the arm. I mean, Jay Cutler had amazing arm talent, but the guy was just a wet mop. I mean, I think Bears fans remembering him just sitting on the sideline of that NFC Championship game is pretty much their image of him, where maybe they feel like he could have played, and maybe he didn't. I don't know what was. I think he had a torn ACL or something. It was just never. It was just always an arranged marriage. It always seemed like it was never, and it just Jay's Cutler's attitude was always just you never endeared. It was not. It was easy to dislike him. Let's just put it that way. Oh, Doug Flutie obviously had a little cup of coffee with the Bears. You know, I think there's a famous shot of Ditka just chewing him out. But you look at that quarterback position, and Jay Cutler is the Bears' all-time leading passer. Then I think it's Sid Luckman, who hadn't played a game since the 50s. After that, it's Jim Harbaugh. It unbelievable. And even just me off of the top of my head, I remember Eric Kramer having a really good year for the Chicago Bears. Really good year for like 29 touchdown passes, 3,800 yards. Um, I believe that one Tressman year, Cutler had a good year, and the Bills played them in the opener of that 13 season. The Bears had a lot of high aspirations. They were heavily favored against the Bills. The Bills ended up winning that game late after the Fred Jackson run, just the stiff arm of Chris Conte. That was a really iconic moment for the Bills, in that time. It's just amazing that the quarterback position has always been that thing. Like even in that Super Bowl, it's not the Colts played a great game. The Colts did not play, this amazing game against the Bears. It's just the Bears had Rex Grossman, and they had Peyton Manning, and he did just enough, and Grossman did just too little. And he's, I think he ended up hurting his ankle, and he never was the same player after that. Not that he was ever that high end guy, but it's just the Cade McNown draft. It's just these, and then and just like the Bills being buried behind a franchise who just has the guy. It's the Packers. They seamlessly transitioned to Rodgers. Now that looks like it's maybe coming undone. Hopefully, maybe to the Bears' benefit. But for the Bills being buried behind Brady, it's like the Packers buried behind Favre, buried behind Rodgers, and that was one of the reasons that Lovie Smith was hired. As I remember, it's like we know how to beat the Packers. We beat them before, and they had success against them. And it was like it was just always seems like the Bears were constructed to work one way. To apologize for that, run the ball, play good defense. And when anytime they came up against a team that could, even had a tick better pulse on offense, like that 13-3 Bears team under Dick Duran, 13-3, that offense was terrible. For some reason that season stuck with me. Watching it from afar, I mean, every time you looked, it was a perfect bounce of the ball. I think it was Mike Brown was returning an interception or a fumble return every which way. He was just all over the place. I can't remember if Urlacher was there yet or not. He might have been. I know Lance Briggs wasn't there, but again, just the defensive players. And I know Devin Hester came later, but even when you look at the wide receiver position, there's definitely a gulf of their great players. You know, you think of Peanut Tillman and all those guys on that side, offensive linemen in particular, like Colbert, and it's just amazing that the quarterback position has eluded them. And this regime has had so many chances to get that right. And are they going to finally get that right? You know, because I'm sure Bears fans are just tired of the pedestrian, just you go on the field and you're short at that position and you're going to the OK corral with a pea shooter and the other guy's got a double barrel shotgun. And but even in some games, it was always a perfect bounce of the ball one way or the other. I mean, that game against the Saints. I mean, I think it was Weems. If he catches that ball in the end zone, I mean, Trubisky puts it right on him. That's a different game. And to make the playoffs 8-8, that bought them the chance to draft Justin Fields. And I think that it's going to be very fascinating to see how long they go with Dalton, because Dalton is already sullied. There's another Bills tie. Dalton, making the play to tie Boyd against the Ravens, gets the Bills in the playoffs, breaks their 17-year playoff drought in 17, and now he's the Bears quarterback, and it's just he's a great guy. I think he knows the position he's in, and I think he'll definitely give them some better quarterback play than they've had. How much better? But I think it'll be better. I think it'll be more consistent. I think he has, I think the Bears have good weapons. Good weapons. Mooney is a really good young receiver. It's a shame he was hurt for that game. And then Tyree Cohen. They have really interesting. I'm interested to see how Cole Kmet plays. I think they have some really interesting pieces, and they just have a fascinating story. And just looking at their history, that cavernous hole that they have at quarterback, and having to go up against the division, even some teams in the division have hit on a guy. Maybe it didn't last too long, like a Dante Culpepper. Matthew Stafford, to me, Bears fans, I don't know if you feel this way, was never. He was always very. The media loves him. The Bills have played against them with Matthew Stafford a couple times. He's never put fear in my heart. Remember Josh Allen and the Bills beat them in Josh's rookie year, and at no point during that game, that was a bad Bills team, 6-10, had no talent on offense whatsoever, and I felt no fear of Stafford doing anything that would change that game at all. And I don't know if Bears fans feel the same way. Media loves them. They think McVay's going to coach him up, whatever. But anyway, this is about the Bears. But I'm very interested to see. I'm sure the media is already pushing for Fields to start. I'm sure a lot of Bears fans, I'm sure a lot of you want Fields to start, and I get it. But I think there's also a there's something to keeping him on the bench. There's something to letting him rest, decompress, and just like watch this. And I think Andy's the kind of guy who'd come on the sideline and say, like, look, I made that mistake, so you don't have to make that mistake. You saw that screw up there? That's because of this, and this. And it happened with Josh Allen. He said once Derek Anderson got on the team and he was able to talk to him, be in meetings with him, watch film with him, it really triggered something for him. And that's very rare. You think like, oh, Derek. I just think that there's a value there that a lot of the media just kind of like, it's not sexy, has no teeth, they can't touch it, so who cares? We're not going to talk about that, because we want to talk about the new shiny toy until he's tarnished, and then we can just throw him out. But hopefully, the Bears, they ignore the noise internally and they stick with their plan. And obviously they have to win. And if they're able to keep it stable and let Fields, I think they can get Fields on the field, and Fields on the field, no pun intended, in spots. Similar, I mean, he's a much more dynamic passer, actual quarterback than Taysom Hill, but in systems like that where he's a threat to run, but he can different things like that. I think that they can do that with him. But anyway, I'm going to cut this short, guys, because I don't want to bore you. Since maybe some of your first time seeing me, but I really appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, I think the Bears are fascinating. I really do. A lot of their players ended up, somehow with the Bills, like I alluded to, and vice versa. And I just think they have just not getting that quarterback right, that 10 to 15-year guy who's just been an amazing player for them and has been able to just hold it down and just light up the scoreboard and break records and different things like that. Just have not had that. And hope for you guys, you finally hit on it. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Take care, and wish you all luck.